Good evening and welcome back again, Realty Pros, to our Thursday evening office training. We are hybrid, both online and in our Upper Marlboro office, 1400 Mercantile Lane, Upper Marlboro, Maryland, Suite 150. Come on and join us if you guys are in the area. We are going to get started for this evening. Those of you that were on Porterhouse Realty Talks today, you know we looked at a video for the new system that we purchased for you guys, Boomtown. So we got a lot more in-depth information, things that are going to be a tremendous asset and benefit to all of our Realty Pros. So you got a lot more information there, and we went over a couple of the new pieces that you have in your brokerment library for Myhouseporter. So tonight we're going to start with the Myhouseporter component. And what I wanted to point out for you guys is your updated listing presentation. A couple of the ladies in the office had a question as to where to find the updated listing presentation. Oh, you got it? Great. Which is why my screen is open to my slides portion of my G Suite. I want for everybody to be familiar with where to access this information. And right in your G Suite from your Porterhouse email, you're going to open up the slides, and this is where mine is. So these are all of your guys' training slides, everything that we have. So when we're going over these series or all the trainings, they're in one of our Google accounts. So if you ever want me to share one of the trainings with you, we can do that. All right. But for your listing presentation, this is where you would find it. That listing presentation. You guys have a view permission so that when you're going on listing presentations for your clients, you're able to do the full listing presentation. Your Myhouseporter component is at the end of it. So the first portion of it is your standard listing presentation, and Myhouseporter starts about, right about here. So that's where your Myhouseporter piece is going to be. And we're going to go through that in detail, but we're not going to go through it in detail right now. I just wanted to familiarize you guys with your resources and where they are located. Does anybody have any questions about that thus far?
I do. I just wanted to know what page on the presentation that is.
46.
46.
Yep. Sure enough. Aurelia asked what page in the presentation that is, page 46. You got it. So before we go through our Myhouseporter listing presentation this evening, I want to take you guys to your brokerment dashboard. In your brokerment dashboard, here's your weekly and your monthly kind of to do. What is the challenge for the month of March? What is it, Aurelia?
Schedule your first time home buyers.
Right.
Yeah.
You got it. So Aurelia and Darlene said, schedule your first time home buyer seminar. All right, guys. So home buyer seminars, that is the challenge for the month of March. And if you guys were able to log into Darlene and Aurelia's home buyer seminar that they just did on this past Saturday, then you saw how you can facilitate it directly from Zoom. So it doesn't take a whole bunch of, coordinating people to get to an office, although if you want to have one in person, that's great. But you're able to far extend your reach by doing it virtually or at least hybrid. Okay, so you'll be able to get a lot of people to come. But I want to encourage you guys, as you saw, they had a lot of support there. Darlene, what would you say about, first of all, I'm going to call you up, so I want you to be aware.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you to tell us how you felt about the support that you got and what you learned from your home buyer seminar. So come on up. Is there anybody on the line that was able to join on this past Saturday for the home buyer seminar?
Yes.
Yes, I see Angela. Both Angelas joined us.
Yeah,
Margaret
I was.
Margaret was there helping out. Awesome. Darlene, tell us what you learned about doing your first home buyer seminar virtually.
Virtually, okay, so let me just say this. I mean, I know we all brag about Miss Porter, but she, like, you are really heaven sent. I guess there is really no adjective that I could think of, because we were on this Zoom. I mean, I've never really manipulated Zoom before. Aurelia is more familiar with Zoom than I am. And then some of the attendees didn't have access to Zoom. So we were just like kind of scrounging behind the scene for like slides or whatever. Lo and behold, when I think it was Rhonda was doing her presentation on which she had to do the 10 commandments and the buying process, Miss Porter already up there with the Zoom. So nobody would have known that we did not have those slides. No, I was like, okay. So she just popped them up, but then behind the scenes, Glennis was, from the title company, she was having a problem with signing on. And I'm texting her and she can't get on, blah, blah, blah. And then I ran through the reasons why you buy a house. And I know that that's Mr. Porter's favorite part of the buyer's presentation. So he was asked to come on and actually just come on and reiterate what I ran through. And it actually kind of closed it. So no one would have known that it wasn't set up to be that way. It just actually, it flowed. And that was because of the support we had with everybody. Maggie was originally set to sign our, sign the people in when we were going to have it in the office. Well, behind the scenes, she was our number caller. So it was like, just everything just flowed, so it was like, it just worked. But in terms of preparation, now hindsight is 2020. So now for the next one, it's like I would say, because I never thought about Mr. Wimbush. Duh, you should have the home inspector. I did think about Glennis, and I did think about the lender. The other thing I was thinking about is, could we get an appraisal, to kind of, know what exactly, what we should be looking for. So that was one of the things that I thought about. And also going into the rental communities, I would tell anybody that's thinking about it, that's honestly the best place to go and hand out your flyers. Where before we were just making it too complicated by going to, say, the grocery store, or where we think people go in the apartment complexes. They're the ones that are renting and that need to purchase. So I would say go into, apartment complexes. But it was really nice. And we had like 20 something, and I didn't even think it was gonna be that many people. And it was like 21 people on there. So we did it was nice. It was good. Thank you everybody that showed up, and yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Yes, it is. Congratulations and great job. For our ladies who were able to join, I see a couple of you who were actually at the seminar on this past Saturday. Do you guys have any insights to share with the group? And hello, I see you, Margaret. I see you have your finger up. I want you to share. Before you do, guys, I want you to help me welcome Franz. Welcome, Franz. Franz is another one of our newest Porterhouse family members.
Welcome.
Take yourself
Thank
off
you.
mute and say hello
Thank
to your
you.
Porterhouse family. How are you?
Hello, family. I am very well. How about you?
Doing well. Welcome. So glad you could join us this evening.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're excited. Go ahead and take it away, Margaret. I saw you had your finger up. You wanted to share something.
Yes, ma'am. So I one of the things that I absolutely love about this weekend, the webinar this weekend, was the support that was received. Like, the number of attendees, Mr. and Mrs. Porter, you guys being there, and just everybody having their part. I'd done a couple of webinars just to get my jitters out, and I was like, well, Margaret, you've been doing this all wrong, because you should have been eliciting the support of your Porterhouse family. It would have made it would have just, I wouldn't have had the jitters, because I felt really comfortable with calling the numbers. And I was like, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to stay on the whole time, but I wanted to stay on the whole time, and ended up staying on the whole time. We were like literally at the end, and where people, you're at an event and it's like, okay, oh my God, when is she leaving? And it was like, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to leave right now, because I feel like I'm going to miss something. And so it was a great experience to have the camaraderie, the support, and then the attendees having the questions that they had and them getting immediate answers. And this is, the sharing that was like a gem to me, having, home buyers sharing their process and, being a bit of encouragement. I wouldn't have done that. I hadn't done it. Just to have them come on and talk about their journey. And it's like, okay, I'm not the only one, because we have a tendency to think we're the only somebody that's experiencing a thing. And so to have that, I was like, oh, this is the piece that I was missing, So yeah, it was great. I look forward to the next one. I'm available to help.
Wonderful. Well, I'm excited to hear that. So before we leave tonight, I'm looking to have somebody step up to do the next one. Before you do, I want to give you guys, when is it? April 20th. Drop it in the WhatsApp group chat so everybody knows. May the 20th.
No, April 20th.
April 20th.
And then we solicit anybody that can help, and May 14th.
April 20th and May 14th. Drop them in the WhatsApp group chat. Perfect. So in terms of protocol, I want to give this to you guys together. If it's something that you're doing outside of the office, always let us know so that if we can be there to support you guys, we will. If it's inside the office, submit to us the dates so that we can make sure that it's nothing else going on that date. None of your other colleagues are, asking to use the office for that date. And if Mr. Porter and I are available, then we will either swing past or show up virtually, because we always want to make sure that either we're personally able to support you or have somebody who is. So always submit the dates to us so that we're able to plan, and then check as well with, your lender, as Darlene said. Margaret, I see you, April 2020. Awesome. Date to be determined. I'm looking for that date. And connect. Like you heard Margaret say, and like you heard Darlene say as well, we are a Porterhouse family. No one is expected to do this on your own. You're not an island unto yourself. So connect with your Porterhouse colleagues. It should be several of you doing it so that you have somebody that can man each one of those stations. So if you're doing a home buyer seminar, if you're doing it online, at a minimum, you want to have 4 people for support. If you're doing it in some type of venue, then you want to have somebody for each station, okay? So we'll talk that process through. Your lender, as Darlene said, you want to coordinate with the lender, the title company. If you can get your inspector, if you can get your home warranty, then those are the most important people to have there to do presentations, right? So as the host, either you or one of your colleagues that you have a cheat sheet, because you have your home buyer's guide, right? Your home buyer's guide that has all the information that buyers need to know about the home buying process from the real estate perspective. And that's all the information that you need to share. But before they sign on and make you a client, you're not going to give them everything for free. You're going to give them the sizzle, if you will, from the steak, and you make them come back to you in order to get the whole meal. So you give them the pertinent pieces up front so as to educate and inform them. And they know, okay, well, Aurelia knows her stuff. Joy, Darlene, Kermon, they know their stuff, and everybody online as well. I'm just trying to call on the people in the office, guys. I got y'all covered, no worries. That's why I have you to put your names in there so I know everybody that's on the line. But that is what you want to do when you have people to come out. You're giving them just enough so they know what to do, actionable items, and then they come back to you. So a part of the end of that home buyer seminar was for the buyers to begin the process of being pre-approved, and always begin with the end in mind, because when you do your home buyer seminar, the goal of that is for you to capture leads and to get those leads pre-approved. So I always want you guys to begin with that in mind. So you know that no matter what you're doing, hold it up against your goal. Is this going to get me leads? Is this going to get me qualified leads? And is this action item, is this going to take them down the path of getting themselves pre-approved? Okay. Let us know if you need help. Absolutely. If you guys need to use the brokered Zoom account, send that to me specifically so I know what you need and I can get that to you also. And as Darlene and Aurelia found out, we have like a home buyer presentation, almost a boxed version of it. So, examples of slides and material and all that good stuff that you could put together in the event that you want to do it as an in-person event. But either way, be encouraged, schedule them. I'm elated to hear that we have at least 2 more on the books, What is it, Aurelia?
I do want to ask a question about that, because I want to make sure we have the process correct.
Okay.
I don't want to reach out. Now, the first thing I did do so I can get a proposed thing was.
Come on up so they can hear you, and then I don't have to repeat it this time. Let me see if I can get the mic so I can do it.
Hello, everybody. No, I just wanted to make sure we went properly through the process of what we're supposed to do to schedule these home buyers presentations. The first thing I did was to reach out to Mike Cooper, the lender, just to see what his availability is. So I'm thinking that once we get the first person the main person that we're expecting to speak, that we are to then contact you to confirm that date is okay, because of course we want to make sure we have the support of the porters there. But if that's the next thing, because I don't want to reach out to anyone else until we find out what that process is, and once I get that date confirmed.
Excellent question. Take that back there for you guys. So that somebody else. So that's an excellent question, and I'm glad you asked. So what you're actually going to do is send us that email together. So whenever you want to initiate that home buyer seminar, send the email to the lender and myself and Mr. Porter together, so that we're all able to start taking a look at that date. Okay, because you want to make sure actually Mr. Porter, the lender, the title company, whoever it is that you want to actually be in presentation, start with Mr. Porter and I, and then add everybody to the list from there. Because just like Darlene said, we're behind the scenes and doing stuff. We want to make sure you guys are covered. So definitely. Okay. So thank you for asking that question, Aurelia. So I'm excited. So we have two. It sounds like a third one in the making. Guys, reach out to your colleagues, support each other. You're going to learn something every time you do it.
Yeah.
Every time you're going to learn how to do it more efficiently, and you're going to get to the point where you can do them in your sleep.
Yeah.
All right. So cheat sheet. Go ahead, Aurelia. You have another good question?
Well, I do have a praise report.
Oh, that's good.
I do have the young lady, Sharon Bishop, that actually participated.
Mhm.
She has been pre-qualified by Mr. Cooper. So she's moving forward with the home buying process.
Awesome. Aurelia said she has a pre-approved buyer from that home buyer seminar. So she's moving forward with the process. Congratulations. That's awesome. So I want to show you guys really quickly your cheat sheet, because I want you guys to read through this information. I want you to, I don't know how you hold your Bible, if you hold it in your hand or on your phone or on an app or whatever you do, but with your home buying consultation packet and your listing presentation, both of these presentations are in the palm of your hands. The ladies and I were in the office talking about having it right on the slides. If you don't have Google Slides on your phone, you can download slides right on your phone so that you can touch right on that slide and have your documents right in the palm of your hand, right? Why am I saying that? I'm saying that you need to know this information inside and out. You need to be able to walk and talk these pages and role play with each other. Call myself, call Mr. Porter, call Curtis, call Anita, call a number of your colleagues that are experts with these presentations and say, hey, let me bounce this one off of you. What does this mean? How do I articulate that? What exactly, how do we elaborate on this? How should I present this information? So that when you present that information, they're like, oh my goodness, I've definitely got to go back to this agent. But it's all here. We made it very simple for you, okay? So that's your home buyer's guide. Come on, I see you raising your finger. You got a question?
Okay, so here's my question.
Uh-huh.
Where did you say that's this information? I know it's in broken.
It's in your slides. Yep, no problem. I'll do it again because somebody else may have missed it.
Yes, I did.
Let me show you, let me see your phone.
Perfect. Darlene's going to help them with that. For everybody else who's in the office, in your G Suite. So everybody has a Google account with your Porterhouse email. That count gives you, we gave you an actual G Suite. So this is coming with slides, documents, email, and everything. So when you click on the slides component in your G Suite, that's where these are. So your office presentations are right in your G Suite slide. So when you open that up, you'll be able to see this live version so that you can do the presentation.
Mrs. Porter, how do we get to G Suite? We just go to G Suite, type Google. I usually Google.
You're going to go to your Porterhouse email. No worries. Let's do it now. So go to your Porterhouse email.
Okay.
All right, so let me do this. I'll start.
Let me grab my computer.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go to mail. Just
Mhm.
as if I was opening up my email, guys. When you open up your Porterhouse email, you're gonna see these little dots up at the right-hand corner, those 9 dots. You click on it. Then you'll see slides. You click on the slides, and that's what's gonna take you into your slides, okay? Those dots, that's your whole G Suite located right in your email. Now, you will not have all the slides that I have because these are all of your guys' trainings that I've prepared for you on here, but you will have the slides that I've shared with everybody. So everybody is going to have the listing presentation and everybody's going to have the buyer's consultation. All right. Now in Brokerment, you have a PDF version of this. Your PDF version is right in Brokerment under working with buyers and under working with sellers. So if you ever need to pull a quick PDF version of this, if there's something going on and you can't get to your presentation, you just go straight down here. And the entire home buyer guide in full is right here. But then also your abridged version, which is your presentation, is right here as well. Okay, the home buyer consultation. This is your presentation version. Okay, the full guide that you're going to email to your buyers before you do your buyer consultation, that's there. So there's a whole lot more meat in that one, but we've shortened it for the sake of doing a quick home buyer consultation that takes no more than an hour. But always send this to buyers as a resource while you go through the actual presentation with them. Okay. Now, just so that you guys know, for that home buyer guide, there's certain things in there that are a part of our guidelines that we're supposed to provide to them. Like when you provide them with a lender or a title company or an inspector, you're supposed to give them 3. So all 3 of those are located in this home buyer guide. So you just email them a copy of this home buyer guide, and then you just ensure that you've been compliant. Okay. Any questions about that?
So you said all 3 of what they need is in the home buyer guide. So as long as we give them that.
It's in the full version, the 51-page version. Yep.
And then we use the home buyer presentation to give the presentation.
You got it. Yep. Aurelia just reiterated, the guide is simply to send to the buyers and the presentation is for your appointment. Okay, you're going to do an actual presentation with this, but this is the guide, and all of the information from your presentation is pulled from the guide and so much more. All right, so you guys can go through and read this information so that you have all of the insight that you need. So if your buyer comes back and asks a question. All right, now that's for everybody that's doing your home buyer seminar. Make sure you know that, okay? Study that information in your home buyers guide, because that's your cheat sheet. That's all you need right there. That's everything. All right, everything else is going to be covered by another one of the professionals in our industry. You're not expected to be a lender. We do have some insight, but the lender's going to go through all the lender items. The title company is going to go through their items. The inspector, the home warranty company is going to go through theirs. So you just know your piece. All right, so that's where that is. Those are your resources. Did you guys have any questions about how to find it? Give me a thumbs up or something if you have been able to find it in your slide.
So in this, well, I'm struggling with that because you're saying the 3 dots at the very top of the page, like underneath the X, right?
Let me go back to it. Hold on 1 second. So there are 9 dots right there.
Oh, those. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I see slides.
There you go. So when you open those 9 dots, this is everything that's in there. This is your whole G Suite. So this comes with mail, docs, sheets, slides, calendar, chat, meets, sites, contacts, group, YouTube, Google Ads, photos, translate, hangout, and I can just keep going on and on. But all of this is inside of your G Suite. So that's what's been provided to you, okay?
Okay. And then
And you're
because I'm in my slides, but I don't see what you shared with us.
all right, let me do this. Let me make sure.
Probably just to set up an account, because I can't see any slides either, and I think it's because I don't have an account.
Let's see. Let's just do this. Let me make sure I'm gonna send it to the top of both of your accounts. I want to make sure everybody has everything you need before we move forward. I don't want any person to be left behind. So if you don't see it, I'm gonna reshare it and send it directly to the top. You will get an email. The email is gonna take you directly into your slides. You'll also be able to access it from your email. Once you open it up in your email and go to your slides, you will be able to access it from there on out.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me go to. And I know we have a couple of our newer Porterhouse family members that are going to get these now as well. And I'm right to the top. I'll send it right to the top of your email. No worries. Is there anybody else that wants me to send it right to the top of your inbox? Herman, I got you covered.
I do.
All right, I'm going to send it right to the top of your inbox. And what you guys want to do is when you open it up, make a copy of it. So open it and copy it. That way you can personalize. If you want to add your own client testimonials in there, if you want to add a picture, your picture on there with your information and all that good stuff, you can do that. You do that with your buyer consultation and you can do it with your listing presentation as well. All right, so I'm sending that to the top of your guys' inboxes. All right, now you'll receive that. Sounds like you just got it, which is great. You'll get it in your email and you'll also get it right in your slides. If anybody else needs it, let me know. Yes, you make a copy of it. I sure will. Angela, you will have the 2 presentations in there. I have all of the trainings in mine, but you guys will have 2 presentations in yours. So I'm going to open this back up so that I can send it to Joy. Does anybody else need me to send it back to the top of your inbox? If so, let me know so I can do it now. Otherwise, let me know. I'll do it later. But either way, don't walk away without having your presentations.
I do.
You want me to send it back to the top of your inbox?
Yeah.
Perfect. Is that Paula?
Yes, I'm driving.
Hello, Paula. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Excellent.
Since you send it to mine as well.
I sure will. Don't worry, I'm sending it right back to the top of your inbox. Who else?
Ask her about this. I'm not that versed. Come on.
Who else?
So we're in the same spot. Okay, that's all right.
All right, so no worries. I just sent it back to the top of your inbox. You got it. So now you'll have a link right at the top of your inbox. And as soon as you click on it, it's going to take you into your slides and you'll be able to access it from your slides from there on out. Okay. And when you download, there you go. Darlene is saying when you open it from your phone, you're going to get a pop-up that says get the app. Click that button so that you can get your slides app. That way, all of your slides will be right on your cell phone. All right. Yep, and you can do whatever you need to do. So make a copy of it, guys, so that you can edit that. Make sure I sent you guys the closed version so that you don't edit the master. That's what I'm saying. Make a copy, okay? Always make a copy and save the copy as your personal copy, and then you can go ahead and add your personal items in there. Does anybody have any other questions about that? It's funny because I wasn't going through the home buyer stuff this evening. I was going straight to Myhouseporter, but yet here we are. Listen, it's okay. I'm following the flow. This is what the need is. So here's where we are. No worries.
I just wanted to be clear when you said we can personalize this, where in this document with personalizing pages.
Gotcha. So here's what you would do for that first page right there where you have your Porterhouse. If I were you, I would copy that first page. And then on that second or the copied version of it, add your photo, add your telephone number, add your email address, add your website, add something personal, right? So that the client knows that you're the one that's doing the presentation and you're also branding yourself. Okay, so of course it's a Porterhouse presentation, but you are Porterhouse. Each and every last one of our agents, you are Porterhouse.
Personalized, gotta have the Porterhouse there.
Make a copy of it.
Make a-
So, yep, because one is, it's kind of like a cover page and a closing page. You leave those the same, but as soon as you open it up, that should be your information. Does anybody else have any questions about that?
I didn't copy one.
You got it, Angela. Let me show you guys how to copy it. Here we go. It's okay. When you open up your slides, you see file right there. Make a copy, entire presentation. And when you copy the entire presentation, so on your phone, you should see, I think it's 3 dots. Okay. So those of you that are on your phone, Darlene is saying file is at the top. Those of you that are on your laptops, you simply open it up and you go to file and you'll see it's 4th down from the top, make a copy. And the entire presentation is right there. And save the entire presentation as Joy's home buying consultation. You know what I mean? Save it as Angela's home buyers consultation. So that when you make your also, let me do this for you. I don't want to mess up mine, but I can edit it, so no worries. Just for the sake of your learning, here's this first page, Aurelia, to answer your question a little bit more thoroughly. I'm going to go to, actually, let me just go to slide. Here's what I was telling Aurelia to do. I'm in slide. You see that first slide? Simply duplicate the slide, right? Now, the second slide that I duplicated, I can go ahead and take out all this other stuff and I can personalize it because I already have my first original in place. Yep. And I can add my picture. I can add, you know what I mean, my information. I can add whatever I want to do. Yep. I can add whatever I want to that second slide in order to customize it to myself. If you guys have client testimonials, I'm always saying get client testimonials because you can put them in your consultation, right? Yep.
Okay.
So here, that's how you can customize one of the slides, okay? So any slide that you see that you like, you simply copy it. And in order to duplicate it, you just go to slide and go to duplicate. Yep, you duplicate the slide that you want to add your own stuff to and then add it there. All right, so you have your original intact, but you're adding to it with your personal stuff.
Because this is what you're going to use
When you go to.
Yes,
with the buyer.
you got it.
So as you're pulling up that slide, you see your personal thing. Yeah.
Yep. Sure enough. Does anybody have any questions regarding that?
No, I think that was.
Good, good, good. That's right, play around with it. If you have questions, this is the platform so you can ask questions, no worries. It's okay, no worries. This is what the need is, so listen. If this is most beneficial, this is where we're gonna be for the moment, so no worries. So that is your home buyer presentation. Remember to memorize it for your home buying, your expos, your seminars. That's the information that you're gonna pull from. And I will show you guys another kind of hack. If you wanted to, let me just show you this as a hack. Show you guys a quick trick for your upcoming home buyer seminars. Remember how I showed you, you can go to file and you can actually copy the whole presentation? Well, if you want to only copy certain slides for your home buyer seminar, you simply go to file, you go to make a copy, and then select slides, and you're going to choose the slides, right? But what I want to do actually is choose the slides before then. So if I hit control, click on that one, depending on which pages you want to include, control, here, there, here.
Now, when you hold down and control, you're able to select individually, but if you hit shift, that selects everything.
There you go. So I've hit control and then I've selected certain slides. And I'm going to say for all right, Home Buyer Expo slides. Now I'm gonna have a copy of only the slides that I wanna use for my home buyer expo, okay? Go in, manipulate the slides, do what you want, reach out to whoever your presenters are for the evening and ask them to send you their slides so that you can plug it into the presentation, all right? So now you guys see, we have an even more abridged version because this is what we have. These are the ones that we've copied, okay? So that's how you do that. Now you know where your slides are, how to access them. Everybody should have a new one at the top of your inbox. You know how to customize it, you know how to copy it and do everything you need to do. And then also download the slides on your phone so that you have your Google Slides and you can look at it no matter where you are. And you can share them. You can share them on Zoom as well. Yep. All right, does anybody have any questions about that? All right, so I'm gonna close out of that for now. I'm gonna close out of both of those and I will go to Myhouseporter where we were intending to go, but I'm so glad that we had a chance to go through that information. So I'm gonna begin slideshow so that you guys can see these enlarged. So in your listing slides, at the end of your listing presentation, which I'll also share again to the top of your inboxes for anybody that needs me to, here are your new slides, right? Because you've always had your listing presentation, but now you have the Myhouseporter component. So this is the end of your former listing presentation. Here it is with all the information. So you walk through that whole process, you get to the end of that. You talk your client through what's next. We talked about signing disclosures and beginning showing the property, but you're going to have some of those clients that are going to be a good candidate for Myhouseporter. And when that's the case, that's when you're going to go beyond the standard listing presentation and you're going to transition into your Myhouseporter presentation. So don't be caught off guard by this end page there because that just separates the two presentations. Because the very next one is, would you like an alternative to the standard sale? So myhouseporter.com being a powerful solution, that is where your myhouseporter.com presentation begins, okay? So then it's gonna introduce them to the site so that they'll know exactly what the site looks like. You'll know what it's looked like when their property is put on there and they will have all the information directly in front of them. Your talking points, which we've gone through for several weeks now, so that you guys can say this in a 30-second to 2-minute elevator speech, exactly what those features, advantages, and benefits of the Myhouseporter platform are. So this is the information that you're going to share with them. And remember, this is a tremendous benefit for your sellers to be able to sell the property like this, right? Every property type fits. That being said, the listing must be compatible, not the property type, because every property type fits. The listing itself must be compatible, and that's what we're going to go through in the listing qualification sheets. We'll also go through the instructions so you guys know exactly what to do, but remember those main selling points, because this is going to be tremendous in saving your sellers, you know, $15,000 to $52,000 just right offhand. And I want to make sure that you guys pay attention to the numbers. I know we have some number people amongst us, and if so, then I know you've already noticed this. With Myhouseporter, everybody makes more because there's a 3.5% buyer's premium. The buyer's agent only makes 2.5%, right? So there's a whole extra percent in there. So that means your commission is higher. The buyer agent's commission is higher. The seller's profit is higher because of this platform that allows that buyer premium, okay? So just take as an example, say a, you know, $500,000 property, that 1% means $5,000, right? That $5,000 is then split. So that seller proceeds, that's commissions and so forth and so on. So everybody is making more with this platform and the seller is saving a load of money, all right? And if you want to know how it compares to other auction platforms, in order for buyers to purchase from another auction platform, easily 5% buyer's premium. 4, 5, 6%, that's the standard rate for a buyer's premium, actually 5% or so. So if they were purchasing from any other platform, they would be paying 5%. So it's a very, very, very fair price for the buyer as well. And someone asked the question on Porterhouse Realty Talks today, I think it was Christian, as to financing types for the buyer. All financing types work well because the 3.5% It's not additional funds required from the buyer at settlement. The 3.5% is added to the buyer's purchase price. It's added to their high bid, and that total then becomes the effective purchase price for the property. So the total of it is financeable. Okay, so the buyer is not expected to just have a whole nother pool of money that they bring. This is a part of their offer.
I do have a question about that, or,
Yes.
So, by the time the deal is completed,
Mhm.
they're not doing the calculation because it's already drafted in the overall price of the home.
It's already in the overall
They're
price of the
not
home.
gonna Figure that out, because it's, okay.
You got it. You got it. It's already in the price of the home. So the starting bid, we're going to talk just a little bit about what this looks like. We've been through these slides, but we have a couple of new ones. I want you guys to embrace the starting bid component of it. So that's what we're going to focus this evening on, the starting bid. And because we've been through this a few times before, I'm going to open the floor and ask, what is the starting bid? What do I mean when I say the starting bid?
15% below the market CMA price, right? The market.
So everybody in the office guessed it. I need you on Zoom. I need you to unmute yourselves and tell me what the starting bid is.
It's the 10% below the median market value that you
Good
do
job.
get in
Anybody else?
CMA.
Good job, Margaret. Anybody else? Don't be shy. Unmute yourselves. Come on. Well, I'll continue while you guys think about.
15% below the market price.
Excellent. We are going to go straight to that slide because all of you are on point. That is our starting bid. I'll come back, but I want to take you guys to this slide that is imperative to our sellers understanding the importance of pricing, right? This is going to be crucial. This is something that we need to know whether we're listing on Myhouseporter or if your listing is simply standard on Bright MLS, because this shows you the relation of your list price to the buyers that you're commanding attention from, right? Your market value at 60%, if you price the property at the median market value, then you are going to attract about 60% of the buyers that are in the market. If you price it 10% above the market, you're going to cut that in half and only attract about 30% of buyers. 15% above the market value, you're only at a slithering 10% of buyers that are in the market that would even be interested in looking at your property. Why is that so important for us to break down in detail? What do you guys think about that?
Because I guess because it shows the seller that pricing it too high. If you don't have the right pricing, then you're not going to get as many buyers or people that's interested in the property. Because most likely, if they have a buyer's agent, they've already shared the CMA of what that house and that community is, the price tag. And if you go above that, then most likely they're not going to want it.
Aurelia said you price it too high, their agent's going to let them know they're not going to want to see your home. In a nutshell. All right, now let's walk down the scale conversely. Somebody read what's on the right-hand side of the screen for us and break that down. Tell me what that means.
So it says conversely, as you move the low market value, you attract a much larger percentage of buyers. So it's more attractive, it's more. But when you're doing a bid, more people you have, it's more the fees. It's not the fees.
Actually hear you.
Definitely won't be.
Can't hear you. that one on?
And then basically what I did, before I read is
We still can't hear you, Kermon. I can't.
Going back to the standard audio. Cause I'm not gonna play around with that thing. Come on back, Kerma. Come on.
okay, so basically what it was, I was just reading where it says, conversely, as you move below market value, you attract a much larger percentage of potential buyers. And what we know is that it's about bringing a larger group of people to see the property and to bid on the property, because the more people you have, the higher the bidding goes up. People get excited. They get caught up in the bidding process. Also, as you start lower, you bring it because you're bringing more people because they're thinking they're getting a better deal. But as the bidding starts, people start to realize it's going up and up and up. So most cases, it goes over the asking price. It goes above the asking price, and that's how people are able to sell their house for more money.
Excellent, Kerma. Would anybody else like to take a stab at that? Because I want to make sure that all of us are comfortable with articulating that. Come on, Joe. You don't want to come up? Come on. All right. Well, talk loud. Come on.
Starting lower provides room. You have to have somewhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't start it low enough and people start bidding, you could potentially be too far.
That's another good point. That's another good point.
Which then you may run into the house not appraising for that amount or whatever the case may be. So I think starting it low gives you room to be able to still be, within the parameters that you need to be able to still.
Another great point. Pause right there. Let me reiterate so you don't get too far and then I have to remember all of that. No, but Joy made another great point. She said starting it lower leaves a little wiggle room so you don't run into issues with the appraisal. So in terms of bidding, and that is spot on. So that's another thing that we want to consider. But what I want somebody to do, I want two people. So the first person, I want you to read the second line from the bottom. So market value, I talked about market value and 60% of the buyers, and I did everything above that. Now we have two lines below it. So somebody take 10% below market value and tell me about that. Just walk that with me and tell me what that means.
So if we price the house 10% below the market value, it gives us, it increases the percentage of buyers that will attend the open house, put in offers to 75%.
Excellent. All right. Next person, take 15% and walk us through that. Any courageous souls among us? Otherwise, I'm going to call on somebody. And it's right in front of you. Come on, Paul. Oh, no, you're driving. All right, one of the Angelas. Come on, one of the Angelas. Read that last line for us.
Okay, I will. It's if you price the property 15% below market value, it increases the percentage of buyers, potential buyers that you have for that particular property.
To what number?
80%.
So let's talk about that, guys. You're in front of a seller and you're having a conversation, and the seller is saying, Darlene, why in the world would I why would I have a starting bid price of 15% below the market? Don't you know I want to get the highest and best value for my property? How are you going to respond? Kristen, I saw your message and I didn't see you unmute yourself, but if you have something you want to add, go ahead, take yourself off mute. Maybe you can respond to this. How are you going to sell that seller? Because you will have sellers that are not familiar with this process, and you're going to have to walk them through that. So this slide is imperative. You want to be able to articulate this and have that come back for the seller. Okay? Kristen, I see you've unmuted yourself. Come on. While she's getting her, I can't hear you. While you're getting your audio prepared, would somebody else like to walk us through that? You're having a conversation with the seller.
I was talking to the seller and they were to say that.
Come on.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna be at 15%. So if I was talking to the seller and they're like, oh, no, I don't wanna, I'm like, okay, and I would say, well, you not listing your house at 15%, you're blocking off 80% of the buyers that would potentially be coming to your house. Even you will get what you want for your house, but you don't want to close the market. You want to open it up so that everybody gets a chance to see this beautiful home and make a bid for it. But if you cut that number, you're going to cut the amount of buyers that are going to come to your property.
I love that's how I like the way you said that.
Also remembering that just because you're starting at 15%, but no market value does not mean that's big price.
Joy has reiterated the starting bid is not the sales price. The starting bid is a strategic pricing strategy that's going to drive maximum exposure to the property and drive up that overall sales price of the property. This is intentional, what we're doing. It is very much on purpose. We're maximizing exposure and we're maximizing competition as well. All right.
Yeah, the seller will be thinking, well, I'm going 15%, and you said they don't know where we are.
Yep.
You know this.
There you go. That's right. So that's how you're going to explain it to the seller. But I don't want to move on from here because I want to give more people a chance to walk this through, because you're going to have to articulate this with confidence in front of your sellers. So take a moment, digest the information, and I want to hear, a quick, it can be 3 seconds, 5 seconds. How are you going to explain this graph to your sellers?
Jasmine, can you hear me?
Hello, Kristen. I can hear you now.
Okay. No, I was going to say, I don't know if somebody mentioned this when I logged out, but I was going to say, I would think as, the listing agent, the difference between an actual listing and doing it in the auction forum, like I think it would be easier to sell the client in the auction forum based on like what Kerman said, like simply like the more buyers that you have, like the more bids you will have, right? So I think like even if I think of myself like as a seller, I want the most people possible if I'm putting the house on auction and it's on for 1 day. Am I right? For 1 day. You want the most people possible. So I think like, whereas, talking to a seller that's selling the traditional way, telling them to go 15% below market value might make them a little more apprehensive. But really, you want the most bids possible to get the highest price at the end of the day. So I think that's where you could kind of sell them. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Excellent. And to answer your question, the auction is 3 days. Your open house is 1 day. Excellent. That's a great way to sell it. If I'm a seller, I'm listening to you. Who's next? How would you sell this?
This is Margaret. Of course, it would be the inclusion of everything that's been said this evening. But I would, with the market changing, it's, because we have to be aware of the times, the way that the market is changing, houses are staying on the market a little longer. I would even add the quip of it being, it's able to withstand even a buyer's market, in the sense that you still, if it's a buyer's market, you're totally not going to necessarily get the bids or, overpriced offers if you went the traditional route. But with this system, and especially pricing it at the 15%, 10 to 15% below, you're still going to drive up, especially if the house, people like the home, et cetera, et cetera. It still gives you that edge, the competitive edge, even amongst buyers, or it being a buyer's market.
That was an outstanding point to make. And that was the design behind this platform that we did. It will withstand any market, buyer's market and seller's market alike. Kudos for pointing that out. You're getting a round of applause. All right, who's next?
I have a question.
Who's next? Don't be shy. All right, while you guys you're putting your thinking caps on, I want to go through some of these slides so that you have more PowerPoints kind of to articulate to your sellers. All right, so I will start back again with some of these, and I'm tempted to add more, but I don't want to overwhelm the presentation with all of the success stories, right? Because I don't want your presentation to be too long, but I want you to have just enough to share those PowerPoints, okay? So here is an example of one of the properties. What was the starting bid price? What did it close for? What did it sell for? Okay. Here's another property. What was the starting bid price?
$750.
What did it sell for?
$800.
There you go. All right. I just added another. We went to this one. Maggie, I see you have yourself unmuted. You might want to jump back in. Here's another one I just added today. What was the starting bid price?
$450.
What did it sell at?
$500.
And we have several others. So you can see that the starting bid price is totally different than the sales price. And as you can see within each one of these instances, it goes up. It goes up. And consistently, I would say 99% of the time, what we're seeing is buyers are trying to, at all costs, avoid the bidding war. So they are offering, aggressive overpriced offers, sight unseen, so forth and so on. They're like, hey, can your seller, just accept my offer now and not worry about, going to auction. So both of those are tremendous assets added to the seller, because whether it sells, it doesn't go to auction, or if it goes to auction and have multiple bids, at the end of the day, our goal is to sell the property for the most money possible with the least amount of headache for our sellers. And that's what our goal is. So both of those things work for the seller. Does anybody have any questions about that?
No, but I have a question about that.
Myhouseporter related?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now you mentioned that it's 3 days before we do the open house.
Yes.
But I'm trying to calculate the overall 14 days.
Gotcha.
And just giving them a number of less than 14 days, that it will sell. And but really it's much less than that, actually.
It's much less than 14 days. So Aurelia pointed out a tremendous point. It's much less than 14 days, because from the time our active date is the date of the open house. And the auction is 72 hours within that time period. So you're going under contract in about 72 hours, right? So Aurelia is pointing out that time from active to contract is much less than 14 days. Okay. So we built in some wiggle room for you guys. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right, let's go. Do you want to go? Let's do this real quick, because I know we have a couple of our Realty pros that this may be your first time seeing these. For others, you've seen it a few times, but I want to make sure everybody is on the same page. Here are your talking points from Myhouseporter, and this is in your presentation. Okay, so those are your 5 main talking points. That's how you're going to sell it. All right, but I'm going to come from a different perspective right now for all of our agents. No longer do you have to worry about a seller asking you to take a discount listing. No longer do you have to ever discount your listing as a listing agent. 6% plus $7.95 is the Porterhouse listing standard. We are a full service brokerage, and we're not a discount brokerage. If you have a seller that's interested in a discount listing, guess what? You can offer them Myhouseporter. And as a listing agent, you still make your full 3.5% on the listing side. The buyer's agent makes theirs. The seller, makes their money. They save a boatload of money. Everybody's happy. Okay. So this is a solution that will withstand any market. This is a solution that no matter what happens, you're equipped with a tool that empowers you to go out and dominate your competition. Because I don't know another brand that has a product like this that you can think of some discount brokerages, right? And if you've done enough listing appointments, then you will, or you have had, sellers to say, hey, I want you to list my property, but can you take a little bit off? Can you do this? Or can you do that? You offer them one better. You know what? I have something even better for you. Let me talk to you about Myhouseporter. As long as the listing qualifies for the platform, that's how you're going to walk through those qualifications. Then they qualify for the program. And you want to make sure you understand the golden rule, if you will. We know the real golden rule, but in sales, they say he who has the gold makes the rule. Right? So you have the gold, you have Myhouseporter, so you make the rules. And that listing needs to be compatible with your rules, because this is going to be a tremendous benefit to the seller. This platform in and of itself is of a $15,000 to $52,000 value to your seller. So I want you guys to be confident, stand firm, and have your chest out and your head held high when you're talking about this platform, because this is a tremendous asset. Right? This is a tremendous asset to your sellers. They had a financial goal when they purchased the home and when they're selling the home, and you're helping them to do both, and you're saving them a boatload of money and giving them a full service brokerage. Because full service and discount is the difference in buying your favorite person a nice gift from a Bloomingdale's versus buying somebody a quick gift from Walmart. You might be able to get a shirt from either place, but it's not the same. Okay, so you can offer full service and a luxury experience for a price that saves them, or with a platform that saves them this amount of money.
So it's almost like full service.
No.
Almost. So it's not discount. And I agree with that. So almost. Right. So it's full service and we're saving the seller a lot of money. I don't even want to say discount. There you go. I don't like discount. There you go.
Expensive. You don't even say cheap.
There you go. So cost efficient for the seller. We are saving them money. We're saving them money and they're getting the full service experience. Okay. So I just want to go back to this slide because I want you guys to embrace this, take this as a tool, put it in your tool belt and know, hey, I have a tremendous product. And quite frankly, any listing that you go to, they would benefit tremendously from this platform. So just be aware of that, right? There are going to be many standard sale opportunities that you'll be able to convert to your myhouseporter.com sales, just because it's going to be a tremendous benefit add. Okay. That being said, that brings us to the next point for our language on our myhouseporter.com. Let's see, instructions. Let me go back to our BrokerMent library. Here we are. And if you haven't had a chance yet, go to your BrokerMent library and you'll see your folder there from myhouseporter.com. Okay. And the agent instructions are right here. So we're going to open this up. So while we are offering the sellers an opportunity to only pay 3.5% finder's fee plus the $7.95, your listing agreement has to have the following language. Very much like your buyer brokerage agreement. When you work with a buyer, Porterhouse, you're 3% plus $7.95, right? Knowing that your buyer doesn't pay you the 3%, at least 2.5% is coming from the seller. But your buyer brokerage agreement still needs to say 3% plus $7.95 in order for you to be entitled to be paid anything. Because if there's nothing on your buyer brokerage agreement, or if there's a discounted fee on your buyer brokerage agreement, you don't even have the contractual agreement to be paid. If the seller wanted to pay you 2.5%, 3.5% or more, you wouldn't even have it if you didn't put that in your buyer brokerage agreement. Okay. So in terms of our documents and our paperwork, we want to make sure that we have that in order. So here is what the language would read in your listing agreement for Myhouseporter. Somebody read paragraph number 2 for me, please.
The brokerage compensation must read 6% plus $7.95. If property sells on myhouseporter.com, then instead of the 6% commission, the seller will pay a 3.5% finder's fee plus the $7.95, and the buyer will pay the buyer agent's commission.
There you go. So that's what your language is going to read in your listing agreement. All right. So how do you think that's going to make the seller feel if they say, if my property sells on Myhouseporter, then I only have to pay you a 3.5% finder's fee? Do you think that this is going to make the seller more apt to want you to sell their property on Myhouseporter or less? More apt. The seller is going to want for you to list their property on there. Okay. So another conversation that you can have with the seller, because in the event that you have a seller and he's like, okay, you know, if there is a discount seller that you're not a discount seller, but a seller who's seeking discount commission that you're talking to, and that seller says, well, I only want to pay you 3.5% or something crazy like that. You want to know that it's important for us to pay the buyer's agent a minimum of 2.5%. 2.5 to 3% is what you should be paying buyer's agents. If you get you a 7% listing, great. If you choose to do 4% on the listing side, 3% on the buying side, great. At a minimum, we should be paying our buyer's agents at least 2.5%. Why am I saying that? Because when you have a good buyer brokerage commission in Bright MLS, somebody tells me how that impacts the sale of that property, or if it does at all.
It gives the buyer agent incentive to want to sell their house. Because when you go in.
Absolutely. It gives them incentive to want to sell their house. There you go.
When I see someone says 2.5, at least 2.5 or 3, if it's 3, because
there you go.
Most of them are going 2.5 now. I'm definitely going to be recommending that.
There you go. So what Aurelia said in quick recap is, if the buyer's agent sees the property has 2.5% or more in commission, they're much more likely to show that property, right? If it has less than that commission, then they're far less likely to show that property. Because at the end of the day, not only is this a business, the buyer has already contracted to pay you a 3% commission plus $7.95. So in your buyer's best interest is a property that's going to have the seller paying most of that buyer's agent's commission. So it's not coming out of your buyer's pocket. Remember that. Okay. At the end of the day, whatever's left, that 0.5%, that's the buyer's commitment to pay. And at Porterhouse, we make sure that we instruct you guys in getting all of your commission, because you work. This is not a hobby. This is your profession. You get all of your commission, but we want to make sure that our contracts are written such that no matter whether it sells as a standard sale or on Myhouseporter, you are getting your full value as an agent. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I do, Mrs. Porter, and I don't know if it's specific. It may be more along the lines of the standard listing, but have you had an experience where the seller is willing to pay your 3.5%, but is not willing to pay anything for the buyer's agent?
So out of hundreds and hundreds of transactions, I've only had 3 sellers. I've had 3 sellers to say that to me before. So there are some sellers that will ask that question, right? Not all of them will. That being said, whether they do, I mean, if and when they do, when you get to that particular seller, you have a solution for them. Margaret, what's your solution?
Myhouseporter.
There you go. So it fits all property types. It fits all markets. It's going to fit, you know, whatever your sellers, their preference is in terms of not wanting to pay a buyer's agent commission. Because every now and again, you may come across somebody that says, that person doesn't even, you know, they don't work for me. Why am I paying their commission? Why can't their buyer pay their commission? Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is a solution that satisfies all of those needs. Joy, is your hand up or you just, okay. Does anybody have any other questions or key takeaways from that?
I do have another question.
Okay. Hold on. Well, I think Franz has his hand up and then we'll come right back to you, Margaret.
Okay.
Unmute yourself. I see your mouth moving, but we can't hear you, Franz.
Okay, I used to, again, that's you know what I've learned, that the seller basically pays, you know, the whatever the commission should come out of the sellers, you know, proceed to pay both the buyer and the realtor agents, the buyer and the seller agents. Now,
got it. So
is this how we do it at Porterhouse? or?
Thank
is
you
it-
for
is it-
asking that question. I'm so glad you asked that question, because if there's anybody that's on the line that has that same question, I want to make sure that we are on the same page, right? As a buyer's agent and a realtor, you enter into a buyer's agency agreement with a buyer long before the property ever comes into view, right? You get that contract with the buyer for your agency relationship. And because of that relationship, that buyer commits to paying you 3% plus $7.95. So it's the buyer's overall responsibility to ensure that your full commission and your brokerage fee is paid. Okay. Within our buyer brokerage agreement, it says that we are able to collect any portion, either a portion of that commission or all of that commission from the seller, right? So the seller in the listing agreements, in order for the seller to list their property on Bright MLS, there has to be a co-brokerage compensation offer. It can be anything. So quite frankly, it can be anything, but there just has to be some type of co-brokerage compensation offer. Whatever the difference is and what the seller has committed to pay versus what your buyer brokerage agreement says, that becomes the buyer's responsibility. And most of the time, it's only about a 0.5% difference, which is pennies in comparison to what the buyer is receiving from you as an agent. When you work with that buyer for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 12 months, chasing them around before they ever even get to the property to see it, 0.5% is pennies, and so is your brokerage fee. So be confident as a real estate professional, you are adding value. You are helping your buyers to not only aspire to their dreams, but you're helping them to actually attain what they've been believing for as a home buyer. You're helping them to get their home. So you command your commission, you do so confidently, you bring value to the table, you're a professional. Our buyer brokerage agreement is 3% plus $7.95. The seller pays a portion, whatever is left is for the buyer.
All right, good. But now, let me just add to this, or just ask, what about those buyers? Again, to my knowledge, that has not been done in this market. But what about those buyers who been asking for closing costs and assistance and all that? So how would they, if they're asking for, again, this is my understanding, if they're asking for closing costs to offset, what they have to bring to the table, then how would they be able to pay those 3.5% or whatever their portion should be to the agent, or basically to the real estate agency?
That is another great question, and thank you for asking that. So let me put it like this: in terms of parameters, the only buyer that we cannot charge them what's due to us is a VA buyer, right? If they're VA, and sometimes if they're purchasing a short sale, those are the only buyer types that we're not able to charge on their HUD for it. Anybody else, it's their responsibility, right? So what you do is you make sure that that lender is aware of what compensation is due to you, and they include that in the upfront expenses that the buyer is anticipating at the table, so that as they are pulling resources and program money and credits and all those things to the buyer, those things are adding to your expenses as well, because you are a part of the process. And I want you to know, every lender that's working the transaction, every title company, every appraiser, every inspector, they are getting paid their full amount. You as the agent, why shouldn't you get paid? They're paying the lender. Why shouldn't you get paid? And the lenders, oftentimes, they're making, 4% on a deal, 3% on a deal, over time, depending on how long they service the deal, they're making, money hand over fist on that. So if everybody else in the process, the buyer is paying them and not even trying to negotiate any type of fee, why would we consider not being paid as professionals? So if there's anything I can say this evening, know your craft, be confident as a professional, be confident in the value that you add to your clients. And pretty much the way that you regard yourself is the way that your buyer is going to regard you, okay? So when you talk about what your commission is, you don't talk about what your commission is before you've earned it. And what I mean by that is our buyer consultation, When you do that buyer consultation and you walk through it masterfully, what you've done is you've set yourself apart as an expert in the eyes of the buyer. You've sold them. Now that buyer, they already know you because they're there with you either virtually or in person to do that consultation. But now they trust you as a real estate professional. So they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And if they know, like, and trust you, and they see that you're worth the money that they're paying, they're not going to try to haggle with you. But you will know, you will have a barometer, because if you have not done your due diligence, if you have not done a good presentation, then you will know, because they will start trying to haggle and all of those things. Because I want you to know, if they went to somewhere else in, maybe a slightly different area with somebody that they didn't know, you know what I mean? They may not be trying to haggle in that same way. So you got to be confident as a professional and know what you bring to the table. You bring great value, so you command your commission. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I wanted to hold on one second. Margaret had a question, then we'll come to you as soon as that one. But I wanted to add to one thing you said, Desir. You're adding all of your commission and your brokerage fee to the expenses that the buyer has to pay. It's not void of that expense. Those are part of the expenses. If they're getting all of this assistance, your money is on the table as well that they need assistance with paying. All right. If you have a situation, come to me about it and we can work through it. But just as a rule of thumb, your money is something that should be paid as well. Okay. The origination fees are being paid. The title insurance fee is being paid. The processing fees are being paid. All of these things, when you look at that buyer's closing cost as a total, you're seeing tens or twelves of thousands of dollars, $50,000. Your fee is a tiny little part of that. Why are we putting our fee at the top of the chopping block? And we are the ones that will run back and forth with the buyer for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years. And we have done literally all of the legwork.
Yeah.
But, in terms of mentality, we'll put our fee at the top of the chopping blocks. Absolutely not.
All right.
All right. Margaret, you had a question, then we'll come right on over to you, Kermon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
The question is, so what happens, or how should we respond to agents that say, well, I don't want my buyer to pay that 3.5%, and our sellers are not willing to pay the additional percentage for the buyer's agent? Like, how do we navigate that?
So that is another good question. The way you navigate it is there's a buyer in the market that will. Because remember what we showed in that presentation, Maggie? You're talking about having, let's see, where were we in that presentation? You're talking about having 80 to 90%. When you get to that 15% below the market, that's when you're talking about 80 to 90% of buyers. You're able to command the attention of those buyers. So if it's not a good fit for that buyer, that is not a problem. We wish that buyer well in a property that they will pursue. There is a property, there is a buyer for this property. And I want us to know, you don't have to make, a square fit into a round peg. If a square peg fit into a round hole, if it's not for the buyer, you definitely don't want to try to push the buyer into it.
Okay.
Okay, but there is a buyer that will work. Yes. And Darlene said that that's on the buyer's agent. The buyer's agent should be scrubbing this information to make sure that it works well for their buyer before they even consider submitting an offer. Because if you're on the buy-in side, you're not going to go to the listing agent. First of all, you can't go to the listing agent. Hold on. I want to make sure that we are all aware of something. As a buyer's agent, you cannot go to the listing agent and try to negotiate commission. I want us all to know that that is unethical, and as our licenses will be in jeopardy. You cannot go to the listing agent and try to negotiate commission. Okay, so I want you to view that in the same light. That 2.5% commission that's paid to that agent is being paid from that 3.5% buyer's premium. You're not negotiating commission. It is what it is. If that buyer's interested, then that's where their commission will come from. Does that make sense to everybody?
It does.
There you go. All right, come on. See, you're close enough. I'm ready to pull on you. You and y'all right here. I'm letting the ladies in the back get away with it. Yeah, people that are close. Okay, come on, quick, come
I
on.
think you said that the buyer also has the option to have some of this rolled up into the loan they're getting.
Yes.
So they don't have to really, it's not an extra amount that they have to put on their property with.
No, it becomes a part of the sales
It's gonna
price.
be part of the sales price.
Yes.
So it's not even the thing, well, I don't have the money and I'm already tight and everything. Well, you can formulate the sale where it comes out of the sale.
Yeah, that-
Carmon just reiterated something. I'm going to show you guys where it is found. So in your terms and conditions for the Myhouseporter platform is located in your broker permit library. Within this document, where are we? Paragraph number 19. Here we go. Paragraph number 14. So buyer's premium, 3.5% buyer's premium will be added to the high bid to determine the final sales price. Why am I reiterating that? Because just as Kermon just said, the buyer's premium is not, I don't know what happened with the monitor up there. No. Oh, no. Let's see. Let me try to reshare again. Forgive me, the monitor in the office went out for your colleagues. I want to make sure that they can see it. Can you guys see my screen that's sharing?
It says,
Oh, the monitor. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Hold on one second. I want you guys to see it too. I don't know why it's saying the signal went out. I did. I heard something outside and then the signal just went out here. Not sure what's going on there. Yeah, something happened out there. But I will, no worries, I'll read it out to you. It's right in your broker library in your terms and conditions, paragraph number 14, that 3.5% premium is added to the high bid to determine the final sales price. Okay, so I'm kind of glad that, oh, it's right back on. There we go. Bear with us, guys. I want to make sure that your colleagues can see everything that you see. And something happened outside and the signal just kind of went out on the monitor in here. So just to reiterate what Kermon was saying, this is not an extra 3.5% that the buyer is bringing to the table. This is actually included in their sales price. So it's not going to affect their financing or anything like that. It's 3.5%. And think of it like this. The property is already priced 15% below the market. So them adding 3.5% is really pennies on the dollar. So think about it from that perspective. Darlene, you had something?
So my question is, and in your experience with your recent transactions with Myhouseporter, is this something that you had to kind of explain to a buyer's agent so they can understand the process? Or is this something that they kind of have an idea?
So that is not something that I've had to explain because it's actually self-explanatory in the documents. But what you will have to advise the buyer's agent is that this property is if it's in pristine condition, this is not a distressed property, right? Because we're doing something groundbreaking here, and I want you guys to be aware of that. We are taking a product that's only been accessible to banks. We're taking a product that's very similar and we're using it for the benefit of all of our porterhouse sellers. So just be aware that you're going to have that conversation with sellers or actually buyer's agents. This is not a distressed property. This is a proprietary software that my brokerage has, and we're able to offer this to our seller clients.
And so that's why in coming soon, it's good to have the photos so they can see that it's not a distressed property.
Yep.
And they can, okay.
And you're going to add that to your language.
That's the photo. Uploaded and coming soon.
Yes, I will reiterate that too. Your photos will be there for coming soon, and that's in your instructions too. So your homework, we have one more minute before we're going to close out. Your homework is go to BrokerMet and look at that myhouseporter.com folder. The 3 documents that are in there, read those through, read them through. There are 3, one of them, I think there are 3. So one is 1 page and then the other 2 are 2 pages, I think. There you go. So 3 2-page documents. So very short. So it's not like a contract where you have 30 or 45 pages. They're all 2-page documents. So read through those so that you're familiar with all of the terms and the conditions, and you're familiar with the qualifications and then your instructions as well. So you know what to do when you get that seller client who's interested in the myhouseporter.com read. Okay? Does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah.
All right, if you guys don't have any questions, do you have any comments before we close tonight? Franz, I see you've unmuted yourself. Go ahead.
No, this was not a question that you were reading on. Where do we find it? Because I've been trying to find it, you know.
Not a problem. It's in your Brokerment library and I will walk you through it. So go to your Porterhouse. So Franz, did you do your password for your Brokerment account? You would have gotten an email inviting you and you would have gone in through that email. Okay, so
yeah, I did
in Brokerment, when you open that up, you'll see the library. So the left column, this black column on the left,
All right.
it's about number 7 down from the top. You'll see library. Let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Share it with you. Franz, here it is. So just in case anybody else has this same question, Brokerment, you're in your library. You click right there on library.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten there just yet?
All right.
All right, and then you're going to scroll down. Each one of these file types is name specific. You're going to find the one that says My House Porter, myhouseporter.com, and those are the documents. There are 3 2-page documents in there. Okay, so familiarize yourself with them. And then for you, Franz, you can scroll on down too, because some of the presentations that we went over are also in working with sellers and then working with buyers. The PDF version of those presentations are right there in the folders for working with sellers and working with buyers.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Very welcome. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments or key insights before we end for the night? All right. If all hearts and minds are clear, Maggie, I see that you've unmuted yourself. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, this was about the Realty Talks. Is that on the YouTube page already, or should I wait a day or so?
It will be in a day or so.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Well, guys, have a wonderful rest of the evening. If you have any questions or need anything, give me a call. All right. Let me go ahead and stop the recording.